how's everyone doing today?
Hi.
Hi, my name is Miss Ball, Miss Latika Ball, but you can call me whatever you want. If you have any questions while I am presenting this presentation, then feel free to try to get my attention or raise your hand. Today I will be talking to you about generic prescription drugs. Does generic brand prescription drugs have the risk, the safety, and strength? Their pharmaceutical effects are exactly the same as brand name counter drugs. Many people become concerned because of the generic drugs are often substantially cheaper than the brand name versions. They often wonder if the quality and effectiveness have been compromised to make the less expensive products. Actually, generic drugs are only cheaper because the manufacturers have not had the expenses of developing and marketing a new drug. As the patient nears expiration, manufacturers can apply to the FDA for permission to make and sell generic brand drugs version of the drugs. In fact, the FDA estimates 50% of generic brand drugs are made by the name brand companies. Another common misbelief is that generic drugs work as fast and as effective as the original brand new product. The difference in the drugs only as follows is the color, the size, the shape of the drug. Sometimes the taste differs. It may have like a lower taste, like a cherry. It may not taste like a cherry. It may taste like an off-name brand, like you have like an off-name brand soda. If it's worse for the generic brand name's prescription drug, many people will not have the comfort treatment that they need because of the expensiveness brand prescription drug. So from my point of view, it is safe to take the generic brand prescription drug. The #1 pharmacist that offers cheap discount prescription drugs is Walmart. You have many companies that call, especially the senior citizens of America today, and want to get them on this plan, but they're still spending a lot of excessive amount of money on prescription brand drugs. That's why Walmart company came up with this solution of $4 drugs, only if you get generic brand. And if you're in that bracket of purchasing these drugs, you may qualify. They have a list. Just say you have like the penicillin. It may be amoxicillin for like an off-name brand, but it is safe. But the best thing to do with these generic brand drugs is to look them up, get all the information you can find on your drugs, get the causes, the effects, what can happen if you take this drug. If it's going to cause you to have headaches, dizziness, or soreness, you can consult with your physician. And if you feel like you don't need to take these drugs, then ask your physician to write you another prescription for a name brand drug, which is going to be higher. But if you can afford the higher drugs, then I say go ahead and use it. But like I said before, it is safe to take generic brand drugs. Often a lot of people don't like children to take generic brand drugs because of the side effects that they have. I have known people who take generic brand drugs that it have messed up their children's ability to function well and to grow as far as like a normal kid. But that's not always the case. Some people always come out of it. But you can always get assistance with this drug. You can have Medicaid, you have SSI, and Americans today cannot afford drugs because they just don't have the funds. Especially in the poor area, rural areas, cannot afford this drug. Most of their drugs are free. But if there are any questions about this drug, prescription drugs, name brand, generic, feel free to ask me about anything.
Okay, are you saying that the best quality that I can receive in taking a drug is the off-brand or the regular? Does this determine on how it relates to my body?
Yes.
How would that be?
Yes, it does. All the drugs, they work the same. Prescription drugs work the same as name brand drugs. It's just a cheaper version, like I mentioned earlier in my presentation. The only difference is the strength. Some drugs may take longer than the name brand. The only other difference is the color, the shape, the taste, and the size of it, and how much and how long you have to take it. You have to take it a couple days longer than a name brand drug, but it all works the same.
if you're buying the one pill, would it be the same milligrams as the other pill?
Yes, it will be the same milligrams. They made this generic brand drug for the less fortunate. It's by the same company, FDA approved.
Okay, FDA approver. Okay. Okay. Well, I feel like you have done an excellent job because you got my attention on this.
Any more questions? And I see that I have a younger person in my audience, so, you know, I'm pretty sure your mother has given you plenty of your medications and it made you feel better, huh? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this concludes my presentation of generic brand drugs, and I hope everyone learned something today. And don't be afraid to go ahead and just take you some generic brand drugs and other names to save a lot of money.